Hey everyone, David Petrangelo here for our first of hopefully many indie reviews and impressions. This month I really got sucked in, actually really over the last few weeks, to a game called The Wild at Heart. So I'm going to show some gameplay that I recorded while I played it. I was lucky enough to have Xbox Game Pass and play it that way, so it's a great chance to get it. It's a really cool indie game, and I guess the one word I would really want to use to explain this game is charming. So the indie studio behind this is Moonlight Kids. That's a development studio, and it's published by Humble Games. You might recognize that from Humble Bundle, for example. So as I mentioned, I did play this game on Xbox Game Pass. I had it on my Series S, and looks wonderful. As you can see from what you can see in my gameplay here, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, it's really, really charismatic. It's a mix between hand-drawn and just sort of old-school animation. There's a lot of really interesting choices they have for the way that the environments are laid out, and for the style choices for the characters. I really like kind of the way they move a little bit awkwardly, but that kind of plays to their character as well, because the two main characters you play as are kids. They're fun kids that get lost in the woods. I'm not going to give away too much about what the story is, because I find it to be a really charming part of this game as well. Again, if you are watching the YouTube version of this video, you'll be able to see that there's a bit of a Pikmin version to this. There's a whole lot of little spritelings, they call them, that you use to, I guess, accomplish your missions and get around the world. So some of them do just basic things that move items around, create bridges, or break barriers. And then eventually you get into about 5-6 different kinds. Some are made of ice, some are good for fire, some are good in the nighttime, which is what you're trying to avoid. There is a day-night cycle in this as well. So it really adds a lot of puzzle elements to it. You have a little sort of dust buster type thing on your back as Wake, as your first main character, and then eventually you run into his friend, and she has similar abilities, but she's also able to squeeze through tight spaces, and it ends up being a game that basically you could say that it could be a co-op game, but it works really, really well switching between the characters as a single player game as well. So the story is something that is a little bit weird. It kind of goes to some funny places, and they don't do a whole lot to explain exactly what everything is, but you're kind of taking it from a kid's perspective. So I think that that's actually really cool. It kind of gives you a real sense of adventure and discovery, just like the characters. You're also trying to figure out what's going on and why, and it really creates this immersive situation. But I really keep coming back to the word charm. The story has some charm, even though there is some serious elements and background to it, which, again, I won't spoil, but it is something that could hit close to home for a lot of people. But it's very touching as well. I think it's handled very well. They don't spend too much time with it, which I wish they did. That's the biggest thing I would say about the story. But regardless, I really, really love this. I played it over the course of 2 weeks and put in 20 plus hours into it to try and get as many of the unlockables and discoveries that I could. And I really highly recommend The Wild at Heart. It's from Moonlight Kids, published by Humble Games. You can find it right now on Steam and on Xbox Game Pass as well. I believe they are going to be pushing out to other platforms as well, but for now, it's well worth the $20 to $30 that's out there. If you have Game Pass, it is a no-brainer. I would say if the first few hours or couple hours don't hook you, give it a little chance, because once it really starts opening up and you really get the gist of how the game works and all the little characters and spritelings that you get to use, you'll really, really enjoy it. That's pretty much what hooked me in after about a few hours. And then I just couldn't stop playing it. So that is The Wild at Heart, our first sort of mini review and impression for our Indie Game Corner. Well, thanks everyone for listening and, of course, watching if you're finding this video on YouTube. We have a lot of cool videos going up. We're trying to expand the page as well. And for anyone that is a regular listener to our podcast, we're going to start putting some more smaller bite-sized episodes like this as well. Life really gets in the way, so sometimes it's hard to get a full episode up. But hopefully this will sort of keep your palate cleansed, so to speak. So check out our podcasts in your app of choice, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, what have you. It's all there. Tell your friends as well. We have a ton of content up there. We're so close to 100 episodes. It's insane. I can't believe we've been doing this for 2.5 years. It's just crazy. So thank you everyone for your support. And let us know what you think. Take 1 or 2 minutes of your time and write us a review. It doesn't have to be long or anything. Just let us know what you think of the show, what improvements you also want as well. Always open to suggestions. On Twitch, we're Back in My Day Games. Social media, we're at DayBackIn. We're heavily involved on Twitter and Instagram and starting to be where all the cool kids are on TikTok. So we'll see how that's going as well. So thanks very much, everybody, for listening and for watching. And as always, stay nerdy, my friends.